Start off with top 16 with Alan Hines and Connor Shanahan starting it out. Two pro drivers going at it for the start of top 16. I think it's going to be super exciting. Alan is certainly a veteran when it comes to the sim drifting and sim racing. Well, I believe Connor is just sort of now getting into it, but he's really shown that he knows what he's doing here on sim as well. Doing a good job last round, and here he is in top 16 for his second round of the Virtual Drift Championship.
Yeah, with Connor Shanahan's first appearance in the last round there, he definitely made a statement that he knows what he's doing and he's here to make a scene no matter if it's virtual drifting or real life drifting. And so him and Alan Hines will be definitely a very good battle to see.
If you do hold a pro license in the real world at one of the top series like DMEC, FD, BDC, you can submit a petition to come and drive in the Virtual Drift Championship.
Hey now, D1GP. D1GP's in there too.
Yeah, that as well. And NZ, yeah.
Yeah, NZ, yeah.
Just examples. Well.
Examples.
Pontus Larson, as of right now, the only thing we really have going is the Bushido Style Drift Championship, but we may do some shootout events during the off season. But again, that's a May, and here we are back with the top 16. Alan Hines and Connor Shanahan off the line they go.
Yeah, great battle that we've all been dying to see as soon as these two boys qualified, and now that they're going to be versus each other, they come into it, and woo! Connor Shanahan right on the door of Alan Hines, right out of the gate there as they climb up the hill and go into the outside zones, mimicking them word for word as they come into the horseshoe, and they come nice and tight around that inside clip. Connor Shanahan not giving him any breathing room at all as he is on the door of Alan Hines. Alan Hines probably not used to the amount of pressure that Connor Shanahan is throwing at him through that chase run.
Connor Shanahan will now lead Alan Hines through Road Atlanta.
Ooh, now to give the credit there to Alan Hines is a very good lead driver. He can set a very good pace, and he doesn't get scared by the pressure, and he doesn't mess up when there is someone that close. So now it'll be up to Connor Shanahan here to see if he can lay down the same kind of lead line that Alan did, as Alan recorrects there and tries to keep up on the door of Connor Shanahan, but definitely leaving some proximity there behind as they come up over the hill into the two outside zones and in through the horseshoe into this inside clip. There it is, Alan Hines back on the door of Connor Shanahan, doing almost a mimic of the lead to chase run. Could we have our first one more time of the day?
Okay, we're going to go one more time there.
Hey!
It was split decision. I had gone with Alan just taking the win. The other two went with one more time, just fixing a whisper key, so the one of the other judges can come and explain their perspective. I'll just explain mine quickly. For me, I felt that Connor has an amazing chase off that first run, but equally, Alan has a really, really solid lead. Whereas on the reverse of that, I felt that Connor wasn't anywhere as clean as Alan was in the lead. Obviously has that sort of goes a bit wide coming off first clip, and then Alan backs out and then gets back into it. And then Connor does throw a lot of angle coming down through clip 5. And then there is a little bit of contact from Alan just coming over the line, but nothing I felt too untoward. So for me, it was slightest of slight margins, Alan just taking the win. The other two felt though they would rather see it one more time, so I'll let them explain their perspective.
Okay, so I'm going to just explain one more time from my perspective. We're seeing it one more time because the chase from Connor was just that much better and that much cleaner throughout the whole way through. So Alan was a bit wobbly. He was coming out of the mistake that happened from Connor on his lead. So the mistake was sort of evened out by the fact that Alan couldn't quite get as cleanly on his door with a clean proximity all the way through. So for me, that just edged it. I just give a little bit more weight to aggressive chase driving, I think, than Chris does. So that's the reason why I saw it as more of a one more time. So yeah, we'd love to see it again, and good luck, guys.
Great
there we go.
explanations there from Chris and Ed there, and we're gonna send it one more time.
Are we going to see a repeat of the first round, or is someone going to break under the pressure of the one more time? As we have Alan Hines back up front with Connor Shanahan right there again on him as they're coming back up the hill there. Connor Shanahan leaving just a little bit of proximity from his first run. Alan Hines again doing what he does good out front and laying down that great lead line as Connor Shanahan is still again right there with him the whole way through, inching up inch by inch on his door to show him, hey, I'm still here, I'm not out, as they come across that line again.
So we'll switch it up again. Connor will now lead. Chase.
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy start to our top 16, that's for sure, but it's going to set the pace of the rest of the day for sure, as all these other drivers are going to want to put on the same type of battles as they enter in. Connor Shanahan getting washing out almost there as he transfers over to the second initiation, but Alan Hines bumped him a little bit there. Maybe that'll that might end up causing the Connor Shanahan to take the win there, as that bump was pretty rough from Alan Hines, but as they still continue out the rest of the run and finish it off.
Yeah, Alan really being sort of a gentleman there after the contact and letting Connor continue on. We'll go back to the replay. Connor washing out from that inside clip. Alan does a better job there waiting on his transition, and up the hill they come. He does. He gives Connor a little tap with his rear bumper and then his front bumper. And then out of the horseshoe they come. Alan's right back on him. Yeah, we'll let this replay play again. See if we can see where, if Connor decels too early coming up the hill or not. We're looking for that brake strip up front, or maybe an e-brake. No, nothing until there. Yeah, halfway through the outside zone.
Okay, Connor takes the win there. Just felt that overall does a better job on his chase. For me, tidied up his chase, got a bit better angle matching than he did on the first battle, and then on the reverse of that on Alan's chase run. I will mention Alan does do another great job in lead. On the reverse of that though, Alan has a tiny bit of contact I felt just on the entry, but it wasn't anything too bad. But I think it did unsettle Connor a little bit. Then we get back into it, and then unfortunately there is a bigger contact coming up the hill into clip 3, where we had deemed Alan at fault for that, and obviously at that point it was battle had gone to Mr. Shanahan.
Yeah, it actually looks like maybe a little bit of contact there on entry too, causing Connor to wash out.
Yes, there it is. Wow. Mind blown after that battle.
Yeah, what a great battle. Both drivers, congratulations either way, especially to Alan. His lead runs were sick.
Yeah, those were on point lead runs. A lot of people can take away from those. And not often Alan Hines gets knocked down from the throne. So we move on to the next battle of Oliver Pinger and Alex Panfilov, as they're going to come down this hill here and send it in. Ooh, lots of angle from Oliver right out of the gate. They're kind of leaving Alex in the dust as they come up the hill. But Oliver washes out just a little bit, having to recorrect as Alex comes in and taps his door. They come around the horseshoe and back down the hill here. And Alex cutting the course there a little bit just to try and keep that proximity as they come in and through the finish line.
He's able to stay with him, but definitely some mistakes there from Alex Panfilov. Jace.
And here they come again with the almost looked like a huge slowdown from Alex, and then with Oliver being right there on his door, almost caused him to like rip a ray there. But now they're gonna continue out the run as they come around the horseshoe and back down the hill. And Oliver just doing his best to keep a decent proximity as they come around. Maybe he already knows that contact will settle it out. We got our friendly deer peeping us there in the live stream. He's looking there like, who won?
And just waiting on the judges for this last battle we just saw between Oliver Effinger and Alex Panfilov. Wait, we can pull up that last replay. You see this massive decel by Alex Panfilov, which is what the judges are going over, whether that was too much of a decel or not. Again, that decel does run almost all the way up to the inside clip there, but not quite. We'll pull up line map. Just a second. Let's run, and they figured it out. And there you are with the line map. That red decel zone you see there is for coming, of course, down the track and through the entry, not leaving. As you see how far it goes. But of course, you can't.
Okay,
Come
we have
to a
a
stop.
split decision there. Alex takes the win for myself and Dion. Obviously, that just comes down to the contact. We both feel that the deceleration wasn't excessive, and that Alex would have made the corner. He might have dropped a tyre off onto the rumble, but it's not too bad. Unfortunately, we just feel that Oliver is just going a bit too hard on the entry, is on a bit less angle than Alex, and that means that for myself and Dion, we just felt that he couldn't slow down quite enough in time, which is what causes the contact. So the contact is Oliver's fault in our eyes, and thus handing the battle to Alex. But Ed felt slightly differently, so I'll let Ed explain his perspective.
Cool, yeah, I just felt like the deceleration from Oliver was enough, and I felt like the lead car was coming too slowly into the first corner on that second run. So for me, I think that Oliver was doing all he could, and the lead car wasn't going to make the corner properly. I think it probably would have been like 2 wheels off maybe on the inside virtually, but it's really hard to say because we don't know what would have happened because it didn't happen because contact was made. So yeah, unfortunately the guys saw that the other way to me. I would have given Oliver the win, but that's the way it goes. Catch you guys next time.
Yeah, certainly see where Ed is coming from there. We don't really know what would have happened because of the context that they went in that direction.
Yeah, exactly. As we move on to our next battle now with Reese Tatterson and Fuku-She, and both two very seasoned and experienced drivers as they send it into this first turn. Reese Tatterson doing a good job into that first initiation point there as we come up over the hill and start the horseshoe loop here, with Fuku-She doing a great job just keeping that proximity right then and there on Reese Tatterson as they come down the hill, and just pushing a little bit there to show him, hey, we're still in this fight as they come across the line. Yeah, exactly, with Fuku-She leading and Reese Tatterson giving chase. Again, these are two really nice drivers, and Fuku-She has been on fire all day long. He's been doing really well, so definitely getting a little more settled in the car as they come and initiate into that first corner. They're going to dive into the line there, and Fuku-She doing a pretty good lead run here, but Reese Tatterson's kind of getting all over him, a little more proximity than what Fuku-She had on his chase run as they come around the horseshoe and back down the hill here. Again, there's Reese Tatterson surging up to that door, just trying to get up there and wanting to tap it, but don't want to make too much contact as they finish out the run.
Reese takes the win there. Obviously, lead to lead, we feel that Reese was a bit cleaner overall, does a slightly better job. And then chase to chase, it's pretty similar, but we feel that Reese was a little bit closer overall, so it takes the advantage off both runs, really. Well, not both runs, sorry. There is a slight advantage to Kazuki on Kazuki's chase, but Reese does a better job, we feel, in chase and takes a bigger advantage and takes the win.
There it is. Now we're going to move on to our next battle here with Alexander and Marcus Lindquist. Alexander's going to be giving the first lead, and Marcus is going to be chasing, so we're excited to see these two go at it. Again, two really good drivers. They come down the hill here and surge on up. There goes Marcus Lindquist trying to close that gap that Alexander's already established, while Alexander's getting on that angle and bringing it around the horseshoe. There it is, Marcus Lindquist right on the door of him around that tight hairpin as they come back down the hill, but there's where Alexander makes another big gap. Maybe too much of a gap there for Marcus to catch up by. And here we go with Marcus Lindquist going to be taking on the lead position with Alexander following. It's going to be a really good battle here as they initiate in. There's Alexander already trying to push up onto that door, but Marcus Lindquist doing a pretty decent job out front. Oh, going a little far off there, but Alexander just following him completely as Marcus goes really deep into that grass, so causing Alexander to cut the line a little bit himself. But Alexander overall doing a really good job of keeping that proximity and making sure he doesn't hit Marcus at all, no matter the mistakes.
Okay,
Here we
Alex takes the win there. Obviously, unfortunately, Marcus has a couple of sizable errors in his lead and hands all advantage to Alexander, who takes the win.
Saying how Marcus's car there looks like a Nori Yaro car. It's nice and bright and pink.
Super hot boy.
Yeah, it's awesome. Actually, one of my friends in the Spec D drifting series here in Western Canada, he used to roll a bright hot pink S13. It was really cool to see out there all the time. The 1J swap. It was a nice car.
Yeah, Marcus's car last season was pretty awesome too, with the hot boy going on with the GTR and the leopard print interior.
Yeah, I still think I have that model, and it's always a great time to see, as we have T-Con Pleski and Adriel Mikado. They're going to be coming down this hill here in T-Con Pleski. Again, another great competitor here in the VDC, so he'll be putting on a very good lead run, as Adriel just has to do his best to follow and keep that proximity on, as T-Con comes around the horseshoe here, doing a great job filling those zones, and Adriel, again, just doing a great job at mimicking. Loses a little bobble there from Adriel as they come back down the hill, and they surge up to the finish line. Now we're going to switch them around. We got Adriel Mikado out front with T-Con Pileski. Maybe given chase. T-Con's a very strong chase driver as well, so he has shown us time and time again how good he is in the chase position. So, Adriel, just put on your best lead run you can here, my bud. And looks like we're going to do a restart.
Yeah, you got caught up on the concrete cones there.
Yeah, those cones will get you, especially if you're driving a wider vehicle like Adriel's.
Got his flag flying on the back of it, and off we go.
There we are. So Adriel Mikado out front with T-Con Pileski giving chase as they send it into this first of two front clipping points. They transfer back. And whoa, huge surge from T-Con Pileski trying to catch up with that proximity. Adriel actually doing a very good job out front, hitting all the zones that he needs to hit as he just makes it a nice clean run. And there's the surge from T-Con Pileski to get up on that door to show him, hey, you can go a little bit faster and across the line.
Okay, we're just having a little bit of a discussion there. T-Con takes the win. We were just discussing some of the finer points of the runs. So reason being for me is it's the T-Con lead to lead is just that little bit cleaner, a little bit more chaseable, we felt. There was nothing really wrong with what Adriel did. It's just that T-Con was just that bit cleaner, a bit more predictable, we felt. Chase to chase, Adriel does a really solid job chasing. Obviously loses a bit of proximity on that last corner, but so does T-Con. T-Con is arguably not as close in places, but for me, I felt that it was T-Con was just letting Adriel set himself up, and then when T-Con was on Adriel's door, he was absolutely on his door, like matching angle beautifully. It was a very good display of car control. So for me, it's T-Con just edges the win.
Right, and there you have it from our head judge, Chris Vitowski. We'll move on to Tyler Nelson and Pontus Jacobson.
Yeah, just talking about Pontus here. Oh no, we were talking about somebody else. But with these two cars, Pontus' car is very fast, very, very quick in the corners. So it'll be nice to see another, whoa, huge surge from Tyler, causing him to knock him off course there. So that'll be a 10-0 over to Pontus.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one. Tyler coming in a little bit too hot, not able to drop that speed. You can definitely see Pontus had the speed, didn't drop too much at all.
And as I was saying,
a little too aggressive.
Yeah, and as I was saying right before they came down the hill, they're both very fast drivers, very fast cars. So
definitely, as we go to the replay, here it comes, really through there, and then the big hit, knocking Pontus off course. Of course, Tyler keeps it going, finishes out the run. But for that half, I think that's going to be all she wrote with that contact. Go ahead and go back to the line while they wait. Send off the judges. Oh no! And the concrete cones strike again.
They always do.
Hopefully he didn't
damage anything on the car.
Because, as most of you know who play a set, of course, you can do some damage to your control arms and such. But pretty head on that goes.
And there we go. Hey, and we're clean through the gate this time as Tyler Nelson steps on the gas here again. Two very fast cars, very fast drivers as they come into this first initiation. Ooh, Tyler Nelson doing a pretty good job out front there, but Pontus really wanting to surge and catch up. Pontus knowing he doesn't have too much work here due to the contact in the last battle, but Tyler Nelson's laying it all out there saying, hey, it's my last battle. I want to go as hard as I can as they come and finish out the run.
Definitely not a bad finish here.
Okay, Pontus takes the win there. Obviously, a lot of that comes down to the contact on the first corner on the first run. Very similar situation to a couple of battles ago with Oliver and Alex. We felt the chase just went in that little bit too hard and causes contact, and unfortunately this time it does actually cause a full 10-0. And then in that second run, Pontus doesn't really do anything too wrong, and Tyler unfortunately made a couple of little errors, but nothing too bad. So the advantage overall there going solely to Pontus.
Alrighty, now we're going to move on over to Alexander Element and Erikas. As Alexander Element sends it into this first one, Erikas getting a lot of angle by both drivers. They come into that first one, just missing out on that first inside zone as they come up over the hill, carrying quite a decent amount of speed with them as they come into the horseshoe section of the course. And we're going to transfer back down now to the rest of the last two inside clipping points, but great job by Erikas by keeping that proximity and by Element on the great lead run. Now we're going to have them switched around with Erikas Shirkus out front and Alexander Element leading, or chasing. They get ready to go again. They come down the hill here. Erikas out front doing a really good job at getting a lot of angle, but Alexander Element not really mimicking him there when it came to that initiation. So here we go up the hill as they come around the two outside zones, doing a very good job so far. Erikas is out front. Element is just doing his best to say as best as he can. There we go across the line.
Okay, split decision there. The decision is one more time has been given by Ed, and then me and Dion have given it as a win to Alex. So Alexander takes the win overall there. For me, it really comes down to the lead to lead. Chase, I feel they were both fairly sort of similar chases overall. They're pretty similar on proximity and angle, and they were both good jobs. It's just the lead to lead. It's just Erikas has a slight over rotation, on the entry, and just drops onto the first inner rumble, whereas Alexander didn't do that. So for me, it's just slight advantage there given to Alexander. Ed, however, wants to see it one more time, so I'll let him explain it.
Yeah, I just felt like there wasn't quite enough difference, like enough of a difference between the two to really edge it for me. I was almost slightly erring on Alex as well, taking the win. So it was really, really close for me. I thought there wasn't quite enough. I thought your chases were really good. I thought that the mistake from who's flipping doing this race again? Erikas. Yeah, sorry. I thought the tyre drop from Erikas was like giving it slightly over, but it wasn't quite enough of a mistake for me to really give the win. So I just felt like it would have been one more time, but Alex takes the win.
Yeah, great explanations by both judges there, Ed and Chris. And we're moving on to Stephen Hatcher and Jack Powell, our last battle of top 16.
Yeah, for those who didn't hear it all too well, Alexander Element did get the win there. So now we'll move on to our last battle here of top 16, Stephen Hatcher and Jack Powell. Stephen Hatcher flying into that first zone, but man, Jack Powell's already right up on him in that brand new Mercedes of his. Jack Powell's Stephen Hatcher's S2000 just trying to make do with what he's got as they come around the horseshoe and back down the hill, and Jack Powell's all over the door of Stephen Hatcher wanting to advance into the grade 8. Alrighty, and here we go. Jack Powell. Now they're going to trade spots. Jack Powell out front. Stephen Hatcher's going to give a chase. Jack Powell's been on fire most of the day today, so it's really nice to see him here at the top 16 as Stephen Hatcher tries to gain that proximity that Jack Powell did on his chase run as they come up over the hill, and a little tap from...
Oh no!
And that tap might have been all she needed from Stephen Hatcher. There is a really bad bump right after that grass there, and if you hit that in the wrong spot, that'll end your run. So even maybe just being a little too aggressive. And
Yeah, definitely. We'll go back to the replay to check out what really happened here. I think it's pretty cut and dry. Here they come with the entry across this inside clip. Everything's going smooth. Here they come up the hill, and then there's the little tap. Inside that decel zone as well. It just looks like Steven just surged a little bit too hard on the inside. Definitely didn't have quite the angle Jack did coming up the hill as well. So that could have been part of it.
Okay, so Jack takes the win there. We're just quickly checking the replays to make sure, but yeah, we're fairly happy there. Yeah, so it's Steven's fault. Just made a little bit of contact front wheel to front wheel in a really unfortunate place and causes Jack to go off track. You can see Jack tries to sort of save it, but he just can't do enough to hold on to it and keep it going. So it's a 10-0 advantage to Jack, and Jack takes the win. But I will say, in that first run, Steven does do a really good lead, and to Jack's credit, he absolutely does stick it on Steven's door. So great chasing there.
there's our answer. Exactly what we would say probably happen is that Jack Powell moves on, and that moves up our top 16 and onto our grade 8.
Yeah, we're getting through pretty quick here and on into grade 8. And starting out with Connor Shanahan and Alex Panfilov, this will be a good one. Connor in his S15, and then Alexander Panfilov, the VR-powered Corvette here.
Yeah, and Panfilov, doing very close in qualifying, almost not even making it with a 0 in his first run, and then managing to come back in his second qualifying run. And now to be up against somebody like Connor Shanahan, the nerves definitely probably there as they send it in, but no, Panfilov's right on the quarter panel of Connor Shanahan as they transfer up the hill. But Panfilov taking a really short, almost right over the rumble strip there to stay with the speed of Shanahan as they come around that horseshoe, but a lot of tapping and bumping going on from Panfilov, and that could definitely be viewed as a no-no from the judges as he completely cuts the line and rushes into Shanahan's door.
A lot of contact in that run from Alexander and Chase.
Yeah, and that was something I was saying, the nerves going up against somebody like Connor Shanahan could be pretty grieving, but we'll see if Panfilov can change it around for his lead run. I know he likes to cut this first corner here, so hopefully he does it and gets it bang on his first try. Connor Shanahan leaving him a bit of room just in case a mistake happens as they come up over the hill. And now they're going to start to close the doors as they move it around. Very beautiful lead run by Panfilov as they come back down the hill. Connor Shanahan again leaving just a little bit of room there as they come across that line.
Okay, Connor takes the win there. Obviously on that first run, Alex was pushing really, really hard and made quite a few little bits of contact with Connor, including a little bit of contact just before the transition on the last turn, which caused Connor to wash wide. So off of that run, Connor had the advantage, and on the return run, Connor does a sensible chase, does enough to sort of keep himself in the battle and not give away advantage to Alex. So Connor takes the win overall.
All right, and there you have it. Connor moves on into Final Four.
The Final Four, man. Can Connor go all the way today after knocking out the great Alan Hines? We'll find out. But right now we have Reese Tatterson and Alexander Servichuk as they come down this hill here, and they're getting ready to secure their spot in the top 4 as they send it in. Ooh, Alexander cutting the line big time to try and make up for the speed advantage that Reese Tatterson has as they come up over the hill and into the 2 outside zones. Reese making a great lead run here as Alex again has to cut the line and punt the front cone at the inside clip as they come down the hill. After they come down the hill, they transition for the last one, and there's Alex's surge up to the door of Reese Tatterson and ending the run. Interesting run to see for sure, but we'll see how Alexander can, how Alexander Serviak could actually make this go in his way as they enter in, and there's Reese Tatterson already just kind of hanging back as they come in. It gets a feel, and there we go. Here comes the surge as they come up the hill. Beautiful angle by Alex as we come up into that horseshoe section of the course and bring it back down, and there's Reese Tatterson, never too far away in that smoke line, just hanging out there and ready to make his move when he needs to.
Yeah, and look at him there right at the end of the course as well.
Okay, Reese takes the win there. It's obviously he has a fantastic lead run off the first run, and Alex unfortunately can't quite capitalise on that. And then after that, I had given Reese a slight advantage, and then on the reverse of that, Alex has a good lead, but not as good, and Reese doesn't let it go. But for me, that second run was a 5-5, so Reese just holds on to enough of an advantage off of that first run and takes the win.
But now to our next battle, Tikon Plesky and Pontus Jakobsen, as they're going to come down the hill here. Tikon Plesky, again, a very great driver, along with Pontus, who's been doing very well all day. Two very quick drivers, too, so it'll be nice to see somebody, these two drivers go right up against each other, as there's a nice sound in the background there as we come around the horseshoe and straight back down the hill. And again, very clean run by both drivers. They're doing an amazing job with each other. So it was a very clean run and nice to see.
Well, apparently my fire department thought it was on fire for this run, so we go to the replay and smooth across the inside cliff. Well, this does cut both of them a little bit. That second one looks alright though, as Chase is allowed to drop one. And it looks like maybe a little bit of contact there twice, just before that second outside zone, and of course after from Pontus there. Down across that last inside cliff they come. At least finish it off rather smoothly, so we'll switch it up. Pontus now out front. Keep going, we'll give chase.
We're starting to secure our top four competitors of the day, as we send Pontus Jakobsen and Tikon Plesky for their final battle here. Pontus out front, Tikon chasing. They come into that first one, a little over the rumble strip from Pontus there as they come up. Maybe a little bit of a tap there too by Tikon as they come up into the top of the hill there. Great job by Pontus, getting right and filled in that zone completely. There's Tikon still getting a little lost in the smoke as he starts to straighten out. Rush back down the side of the door of Pontus and finishing out that run.
Okay, we're just watching the replays there to make sure. So unfortunately we just aired on the side of giving Pontus the fault for the little bit of contact. It wasn't a 10-0, it was just a bit of a mark against him, which left him at a bit more of a disadvantage. Well, not a disadvantage. It made it closer than it would have been without the contact, should I say. So that had gone to a 5.5 to a 4.5 with regards to Pontus on that chase run of his, and then on the reverse of that, Tikon does a really solid job chasing, and unfortunately Pontus has a little angle correction coming up through clip 2, so it's a little lead error, and Tikon doesn't make any mistakes in that chase and does a really good job. But Tikon just takes the win. But good battle, guys. Good battle.
Absolutely, good battle by both of them, and Tikon will move on into the top 4.
Yeah.
Next we've got Alexander Element and Jack Powell. Ladies.
And Jack Powell has been doing very well today.
Yeah, brand new chassis, brand new car.
Yeah, and he's loving it apparently, as we get Alexander Element, who is our rookie driver of the year so far, coming down with Jack Powell chasing right behind him. And there's the massive angle from Jack Powell, having to straighten up there and kind of recorrect himself as Alexander Element starts to put on a huge gap. But Jack Powell's right back up with them as they come around the horseshoe and back down to the last 2 inside clips, and now with decent proximity from Jack as they come across that line.
Yeah, amazing. Jack was able to reel him back in. Jack's got quite a bit to make up here with that mistake on the entry there.
For sure, but I think Jack could pull it off on this one, but it'll be up to Element to kind of secure his win here. See who's going to be moving on to our final spot in the top 4 as they enter in. Jack Powell out front with Alexander Element giving chase. They come in, fill in the zones nicely. There's the surge from Alexander Element to try and stay on the door. Little recorrection there from Jack Powell coming into the second outside zone as they come around the horseshoe. Coming back down, there's Alexander Element again on the door of Jack Powell, trying to secure that win into our final spot of the top 4.
Okay, Alexander Element takes the win there. Obviously, in that first run, Jack has a big mistake on the entry by going quite backwards. Does a great job to catch it and get back sort of into it, but unfortunately at that point he just can't make the gap up. Alex wasn't doing anything wrong really in lead. It's just Jack had left quite a big gap and unfortunately couldn't quite get back into the fight. So that first run, it was a slight advantage to Alexander because he had a reasonably good lead. then obviously on the reverse of that, Jack does good job, puts down a pretty reasonable lead, and then unfortunately he has a little bit of an angle correction coming up into clip 3, but Element is just on his door the whole way. That was a really good piece of chase driving.
And as we get the little boat horn from Jack out of the Mercedes.
Who's going to be moving on to the Final Four? Or to the grand finale? Who's going to win it? It's either going to be Reese or it's going to be Connor Shanahan here, as we're about to find out as they come into the first corner. Reese doing a great job out front, filling that zone perfectly. Connor Shanahan just doing enough to keep within that proximity as they come up the hill and around the 2 outside zones. Great little touch of just the grass there as they come around that turn and start heading back down the hill. And Connor Shanahan's right there doing a perfect mimic of everything that Reese Tatterson is doing as they come across that line. Here they go, as we're saying it. Connor Shanahan's going to lead now with Reese Tatterson chasing out back. A huge flame shot out by Reese Tatterson as they come down that straightaway and initiate in. And Connor Shanahan's great angle right off of the bat there with the speed, but Reese is keeping right up on his door, maybe even pushed him a little bit in those early sections as they come around the horseshoe here and sync up nice and tight to that inside clip as they come back down the hill. And whoa! Reese Tatterson's right on the door of him as they transfer to the final inside clip and across the line.
Ooh, good 2 final surges from Reese there.
Unanimous decision there. Connor Shanahan takes the win. Unfortunately for Reese, Connor put down a really, really good chase run on Reese's lead. On both their lead runs, they do drop a little bit of a tyre onto the inside rumbles, so you sort of sack that off. But really what decided it is the chase to chase. They were very similar, except really for coming off of clip 3 into clip 4, where Reese just comes up a little bit shallower than Connor's line, whereas Connor was mirroring Reese's line that bit better. So it's just purely for that little thing. But I have to say, both of your last transitions were really, really impressive. You were both right on each other's doors. That was a great battle, and it's just unfortunate it has to go down to such a silly little thing. But great work, and we'll see Reese in the battle for third.
Yeah, I think I certainly agree with Chris there. And the last transitions from Reese were crazy good. But overall, Connor was able to stay with Reese throughout the entire run and not really sack off at all throughout all of it. And then, of course, the tire drop at the top of the hill by Reese. But here we go with Tikhon Pileski and Alexander Element. Tikhon qualifying second and Alexander qualifying third. So this should be super exciting as well here in the top 4.
And it's the last spot to secure into the finale. So who's going to take it? Who's going to be meeting Connor Shanahan? Is it Tikhon Pileski? Is it Alexander Element? As they go into this first initiation, and right away Tikhon Pileski is doing what he do best and put out that great lead line, with Alexander Element doing the rookie thing of the year and keeping right up on his door as he has been all day long, as they come back down this transition in the hill. And there's Alexander Element right there on the quarter panel of Tikhon as they transfer back and come back across the line.
We'll switch it up. Element will now lead the current Rookie of the Year and taking a little extra lead on the Rookie of the Year position.
Yeah, no, he's been doing very well, even from when he started out in a few of our little events that we held way back. But there they go. Wow, Alexander just sending it into that first inside clip as they do a great job coming up the hill here. Alexander laying on the angle and the speed right up against the edge of the track line there. But there's Tikhon right on his door showing him, I want this battle more than you, as they come back down the hill. And a little bit of a bobble there from Tikhon and Alex as they come into the last and final turn.
Yeah, a little hiccup there.
Okay, so on that instance, we're giving the win to Alexander Element, based off, really, that one again, that comes down to small margins in the chase more so than anything. In the lead, Alexander is a little bit wobbly coming into the first corner, but not too bad. Tikhon is wobbly coming into that first corner on lead. Losing my mind, I'm sorry. Alexander isn't, but that's not really much to say. It's down to the chase. So once you transition through off of clip 1 into clip 2, in both leads, they both do drop a little bit of a tyre off onto the inside rumble on that right hand side. So that's sort of mistake. But it's just that Element is able to capitalise better off that first transition and is right on Tikhon's door all the way up the hill and then all the way around the rest of the run, whereas Tikhon loses Element just a little bit and then catches back up coming into clip 3. So it's just purely because that little bit of separation through part of the run. Tikhon loses out and Alexander walks away with a win and goes to the final. So, third place.
Absolutely, but before we go to the finals, we have our third place battle. between Tikon Pileski and Reese Tatterson. Tikon Pileski will lead, qualifying second, and Reese Tatterson will chase, qualifying fourth. This will be another super exciting one. Battle of the S chassis once again. Here they go.
Yeah, it's been a great day of battling, and here we go for our third place winner as Tikon Pileski sends it in. Reese Tatterson right up on them, and I know these two love driving with each other as they come up the hill and they start to fill those outside zones. Tikon doing a great job out front, but Reese is just right there on him, mimicking the angle perfectly. As they come down the hill, Reese drops a little tire past that pylon, but that's okay as they come back down the hill and cross the line. And we sure will, as we have Reese Tatterson out front. Tikon Pileski going to give chase as they come down the hill to figure out who's going to take home third place. Will it be Reese? Will it be Tikon as they come in? And beautiful entry by Reese Tatterson as they come up the hill. Tikon surging up to get up inside the door as they come around the two outside zones and filling the zones beautifully. Reese is doing, while Tikon's still right there on the door of Reese Tatterson. And almost a little more proximity, a little less proximity than Reese had on his chase, but nevertheless they are still side by side and across the line.
Okay, we would like to see that one more time, please. We just can't quite call a winner off that. We feel there was just tiny little things. You both dropped a little bit of tyres in your chase. So really, it's just, we feel that Reese was just that little bit cleaner in chase, but Tikon was that little bit cleaner in lead, and there's just, you know, those couple of little tyre drops in chase, and we just can't quite make a call off that. So we'd just like to see that one again, please.
Absolutely, good call. And we'll send it again. And Tikon honks at him, and that he leads first. That was cute. We'll switch it up, and a lot of mixed opinions in the chat too on who's gonna win the finals.
Yeah, some people saying Element, some people saying Connor, but right now we got this third place battle to figure out first. So we got Tikon Pileski back out front with Reese Tatterson giving chase in this one more time battle as they really send it into this first one. Lots more speed than the first battle as they come up the hill, and doing a great job Reese is by just making sure he's following that line. Tikon doing an amazing job, kind of taking the midline though through that outside zone as they come around and start the descent back down the hill to the front two inside clips from the beginning as they transfer back over, and there it is. A little less proximity this time around. That's going to be great to see these two do their final. Guys, spam that like button, boys. Good to see that in the chat there as we have Reese Tatterson taking the lead, and Tikon Pileski already right on the door of Reese Tatterson with a little tiny tap in the front fender there as he rushes up again, going up into the outside zones as they're going to fill them beautifully as they come around the horseshoe section of the course. But Tikon is not given any room for error as they come back down the hill and across the line.
Okay, Tikon takes the win there. Basically that one comes down to, again, it's chase to chase. Tikon does have a bit of a contact with Reese on the entry, but it doesn't cause too many problems, and Reese does a really good job, holds on to it and carries on. So I had marked that second run as a 7-3, and then on the reverse for that, unfortunately, Reese had a couple of had a big moment sort of coming through into clip 5 off the horseshoe where he very nearly straightens, and then gets the timing a little bit off on that last transition as well, and is pretty low angle. So for me, I had marked that first run as a 6-4 to Reese. So with the 7-3 going to Tikon on that last run, Tikon just takes a 1 point advantage overall and takes the win.
We're all excited for this as they start to roll up to the line there. Alexander Element will be leading the first of these battles. I'm expecting one more time out of this. I think it's going to be great as Alexander Element, Connor Shanahan, the finals, round 4, VDC Road Atlanta. Let's send it as they come into that first inside clip and come up the hill. Connor Shanahan getting a feel for the driver in front of him as they come up into the two outside zones and around the corner. And Connor Shanahan now getting that feel and sucking right up to the door of Alexander Element as they come down the hill. And there is Alexander Element doing a great job out front. Connor Shanahan just putting on that perfect chase run.
We'll switch it up. Connor now out front.
Yeah, and there have actually already been sent. So Connor Shanahan out front. Alexander Element's going to be chasing. Huge flick by Connor Shanahan as they come in with a lot of speed. Little less angle there from Alexander Element in that first initiation, but they're coming up the hill now. and starting to get into these two outside zones, and right along the edge comes Connor Shanahan, but Alexander Element's right there on his door. He knows he has to push hard to make this work, and there he is with the close proximity all the way to the end as they transfer to that last clipping point and across the line.
We've come to a decision. Alexander Element is taking the win there. It is by very slight margins, very, very slight margins. It's lead to lead. They're both solid jobs. It's just tiny little things in chase, really. So Connor is pretty low angle coming through clip 5 through the horseshoe, and then unfortunately makes a bit of contact with the back of Alexander's car coming out, and then causes Alexander to slow his transition and then get back into it. So it's a little bit of a deduction there. And then on the reverse of it, Alexander is fairly low angle coming through clip 2, but we felt that it's one low angle versus one low angle and a little bit of contact, so it's just tiny margins, sort of half a point in it, just gives the win to Alexander Element. Well done.
Yeah, really tight there, really tight call. I think I agree though. As I was, sort of suspected that with Alexander Element's late exit of that horseshoe, if there was like a little bit of contact, but judges caught it, and yeah, that was enough to switch it up, as well as a little over rotation from Connor coming out of the horseshoe, which really didn't affect the run too much, but it is an added mistake. And there you have it, the last and final battle for round 4. And Alexander taking the win, Rookie of the Year, showing out again.
I mean, like I said, Alexander, he's a strong driver and not one to shake a stick at. I mean, like I said, we had some open events, not through VDC, but through my Bushido style there way back when, and every round he came to, he dominated. He was so well done, going up against other VDC drivers at that time as well. Now to see him in the VDC Pro circuit and to see him winning getting pretty high up in almost every event he's attended in these last 4 is really crazy to see. He's a very strong competitor.
Absolutely. We saw him come out and try and get his license quite a few times, and it was certainly disappointing to see him not show up and show out and get that license, but he finally did. He's here, and here's his first win of the Virtual Drift Championship, taking that bigger lead on the Rookie of the Year position. But again, congratulations to Alexander Element for taking the win. Connor Shanahan coming in second. Deacon Pileski taking home 3rd place to finish out round 4 here at Road Atlanta. My name is Craig. With me is Tanner.
Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you next week, hopefully. Or
Absolutely.
the week after. Or the week after. Week after.
Every week.
Good night, everybody. See you next time.